Good morning. Welcome to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Julie Kay here with the wonderful Carlene Bragg. Good morning, Carlene.
Good morning, Julie.
Carlene, do you have any travel plans this holiday season?
Honestly, I'm just going to stick to the car, but I'll probably go back home to Charleston a couple times.
There we go. Okay,
yes.
in
what
the car.
You? Are you flying?
I am not flying. I'm driving to Asheville.
Okay.
So we're both on the road.
We're on the road.
On the road. But any kind of travel, we got to pay attention to people getting sick.
100%.
This is the time of year that people are going to be, need to be a little extra cautious. Of course, everyone's excited to see their families, excited to travel if you're doing that, whether on the road or in the air. However, we want to pay extra attention to all sorts of sicknesses that you can pick up as you're traveling. And that's why we are starting today with a health expert. This is Dr. Ruth Carrico. Dr. Carrico, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much.
Well, let's start with, as I kind of set us up with all this travel that we got coming up in the next couple of weeks, what are the illnesses people need to watch out for this time around?
You know, you were perfectly right that it doesn't matter whether you're in a plane or in a car or just meeting together in a room. There are a number of respiratory viruses that challenge us every year. This year's no different. We have three, I think, that really come to mind, and that is flu or influenza, RSV or respiratory syncytial virus, and of course COVID-19. All of those are diseases of breathing. So just as you mentioned, we all get together, regardless of where that is, all of us are breathing, and without some plan for protection, then we run the risk of either transmitting illnesses or breathing them in, acquiring them from others.
I'm glad you brought up the illnesses that we're paying attention to, especially I want to point out, just while I have you, COVID-19 still a problem. Although the pandemic lockdown is over, COVID-19 is still something we deal with, right?
It certainly is. It's one of those respiratory viruses, and I'm really happy to have the chance today with Sanofi Pasteur has enabled me to partner with them and bring health information to you, to your audience, so we can get a picture of what it means to protect ourselves as a unique individual.
Yeah, and so what are some of the things that people can do to make sure they don't contract or protect themselves as much as possible from contracting one of those illnesses?
You're right. You know, nothing's a guarantee, but I think a good place to start is let's remember what Mom told us. And Mom said, make sure that you don't go anywhere when you feel badly. Stay home. Don't share that love with others. Make sure your hands are clean. If you have to cough or sneeze, do so either in a tissue or in your elbow. Those are kind of our basic things. Well, what about some more advanced interventions that we can do? And I think a good starting place is talk with your healthcare provider. I love it when I have a chance to talk with patients about what is going on with them as unique individuals, and then develop a plan of action that looks at their underlying health conditions, their activities, what's going on in their lives, and is personal to them.
Especially because anyone with maybe a pre-existing condition may be at more risk. But I'm curious if there's anything or anyone in particular that might need to be paying more attention. I know you mentioned RSV. Typically, when we talk about that, we do talk about kids.
Yes, you're right. And so let's start at that end of the spectrum. When we have newborns, they're born without a really robust immune system. So they rely on us to help take care of them. So we can do things such as provide them with an antibody against RSV. Well, what about older adults, the other end, maybe those visiting grandmas and grandpas? Well, let's protect them. Influenza, we have vaccines focused on the older adult, that higher dose flu vaccine. COVID-19, the mRNA and non-mRNA vaccines, and then, of course, RSV. And then what about everybody else with underlying medical conditions? Let's remember those: asthma, heart disease, diabetes, and others. We have vaccines that are meant for our community, our people at large. So get with your healthcare provider. Recognize everybody's different, so your healthcare provider knows you best. Talk with them, get their advice, and remember, it's never too late. So every time you visit a healthcare provider, think about that as a vaccinating opportunity, a chance to develop your plan of action.
I like that you phrased it as, kind of what your mom said. Sometimes the simplest advice is the best. Wash your hands, make sure you're not coughing on other people. Is any, though, of these illnesses that you mentioned, I know they're all spread in similar ways, but are any of them, kind of piquing your interest or concern this season as something that's becoming a little bit more common?
Well, I think, remember COVID-19 has not gone away, so don't dismiss it. It is still creating problems. Flu is with us every year, and remember last year it was a particularly bad flu season. So it just reminded us, we need to respect these respiratory viruses. And RSV may be kind of a new term, a new vaccine. So again, talk with your healthcare provider. Find out what is the right thing for you and your underlying health condition. And then develop your plan of action and then figure out the best way for you to move forward.
Dr. Carrico, anything that we haven't talked about that you think people need to know or that would be really important for people to hear?
Well, I think it's remembering that all of us want the same thing. We want to have a great holiday season. We want to be able to spend time with friends and family, loved ones. Let's have a plan so that we can do that safely and give us the opportunity to celebrate what we have ahead of us in these next coming months.
Celebrate really is the word. Hopefully people can take that advice and go travel and see their families safely. Dr. Carrico, thank you so much for that information.
Thank you.
On that note of holiday travel, we are going to get to an interview earlier that our morning crew did with the Charlotte Douglas International Airport. Carlene, I think we might have some updated information. Of course, amidst the government shutdown, we of course have been seeing delays. We've been seeing cancellations. It's been a mess.
Not just here, but across the country. I'm sure you've known people. I have a few people in my life that are like, I've been delayed. Multiple times. I mean, people here, even who work here, said that they were delayed over the weekend. So
absolutely.
Right now, total delays at Charlotte Douglas is only 10.
Okay.
And there's 36 cancellations.
Okay.
Now, this to keep in mind, the numbers I'm tracking, that's for arriving and departing flights. So it's not all necessarily all ones that are coming out of Charlotte. But something to keep in mind.
Yeah, especially for a Wednesday morning, having that many cancellations isn't good.
This early is odd.
And you know what? I know that we are talking today, hopefully finding some headway at the U.S. Capitol. Yes. The Senate has already passed a funding bill. Now it's in the House's hands, and they're meeting, I believe, at noon to see if they can come to a conclusion on that. But even if the government shutdown ends, we're still going to see some residual impacts. Sean Duffy has mentioned that. Multiple airports have warned us of that. So that's why we're going to keep an eye on this for even a little bit longer if the government shutdown ends. So we're going to get to that interview that I believe the morning crew did just about an hour or so ago.
Yep.
Amanda Deweese is the communications director over at Charlotte Douglas International. She joins us this morning. Good to see you again, Amanda. Thanks for talking to us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, bring us up to speed. It looks like maybe, fingers crossed, the shutdown could end as early as today. If that happens, how quickly do you think flights will return to normal there at Charlotte Douglas?
That's right. So first of all, yes, we are being impacted by the FAA order to reduce air traffic. Right now, we're at a 6% reduction in flight schedules. That'll be going to a 10% reduction in flight schedules as soon as Friday. Now, if the end is in sight, which we certainly are hopeful it is, passengers can expect to have those disruptions, though, for a few days to follow. The airlines have to kind of get back up to speed. Our TSA workers, our air traffic control workers have been amazing. They are so committed to working without pay during this time, and we have been very fortunate throughout the shutdown thus far.
We're talking about 4%, 6%. Doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're that one passenger and your flight is delayed, it's problematic. What are you telling passengers?
Absolutely. So our message is simple. Plan ahead and arrive early. So you need to connect with your airline before you actually get to the airport. They are communicating directly with passengers to let them know what the flight statuses are and the flight schedule so you can know if you're impacted before you go. Be inside the terminal 2 hours before a domestic flight and 3 hours before an international flight. Before you get in the TSA checkpoint line, please know what you can and cannot bring. That can certainly hold up the wait line as people are being pulled aside. And we ask for patience and understanding. It's unprecedented right now. You can follow CLT social media for real-time updates on any major impacts.
Yeah, a little bit more now on the TSA and security lines. We've seen 3-hour waits in some cities like Houston. Is that been the case here, or have we fared a little bit better?
We have been incredibly fortunate. We have 3 security checkpoints at CLT, and throughout this shutdown, we have been averaging 10 minutes or less wait times, which is completely normal. Our TSA workers have done a phenomenal job continuing to show up, their commitment. It's really helped us mitigate any impacts at those checkpoints. You'll also see airport employees. They're going to be wearing kind of bright neon color vests. We're helping to support our TSA workers with just directing passengers, and that helps the lines move more efficiently.
They are very good about directing folks for sure. All right, so Thanksgiving is 2 weeks from tomorrow. Do you have any idea how this year's numbers are going to compare with last year?
We do. So we are expecting about 2 million passengers to arrive and depart out of CLT over a 13-day Thanksgiving period. So that is November 20th through December 2nd. That is a 6% decrease over last year's record-breaking passenger traffic. But keep in mind that 70% of the passengers at CLT are going to be connecting. So as other airports experience those delays, there can be ripple effects.
Yeah, good to keep in mind. 70%, that's a big bulk.
It's a huge number, yeah.
Which days, when it comes to Thanksgiving holiday, which days are you expecting to be the busiest?
Yes, so it's the Saturday, Sunday, and Monday following Thanksgiving, with that Sunday, November 30th, the most busiest that we are expecting at this point. About 180,000 passengers are expected to be in the terminal on November 30th.
So a testament to our area and to Charlotte Douglas. We know that airport has been a construction zone for years because of that terminal lobby expansion. But if folks haven't been to the airport in a while, things are much, much better now.
Yes. So this is our first major holiday post-construction, so that is worth celebrating in itself. There's a lot more lobby space. If you have not been to the airport for a long time, you'll be certainly surprised. It's very roomy, very airy. We have pedestrian sky bridges, underground walkways, 16-lane curb front. All of this has been designed to enhance that passenger flow and improve passenger safety. We have some concessions that are in the terminal lobby now, so you can go to Dunkin' Donuts or go grab something to read from the Charlotte News store before you actually get in the TSA line.
I mean, a lot of people never go to the airport, but if they do, they go once a year or once every 2 years. And if that's you, you're going to be welcomed by a brand new airport.
When you see that lobby, Terminal A,
it's going to be completely new. And again, Amanda, driving home the point, if the government shutdown ends today, expect several days before everything gets completely back to normal.
Right.
Amanda Deweese, live from Charlotte Douglas. Amanda, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, some important information there as we prepare for even more holiday travel and hopefully, fingers crossed, get some resolution on this government shutdown, because I know a lot of people are not just hoping that these cancellations stop, but a lot of people needing to get paid. So we're going to follow that today as the House goes back into session around noon to find some hopefully common ground there, but updates to come. We're going to take a quick break for now. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. Welcome back. It is 9:15 on your Wednesday morning, and the House is preparing to convene in D.C. as we speak to vote on a potential deal to end the government shutdown. If they pass it tonight or whenever this afternoon, hopefully earlier than that, when they reconvene at noon, President Donald Trump could sign it in effect as early as tonight. But that doesn't mean that flight cancellations and delays will stop. That doesn't mean that we know when SNAP benefits will be reimbursed or when people will get their back pay. So a lot of questions still in the air. That's why we got NBC's Alice Barr with the latest.
On what could be the final day of the nation's longest government shutdown, House members are racing back to Washington to cast a critical vote on the Senate-passed short-term funding bill.
Welcome back from your taxpayer-funded 7-week vacation.
Democratic leadership slamming the House Speaker's move to keep members out of session while the shutdown dragged on, as Republicans pin the pain on Democrats.
For 42 days and counting, Democrats have held the country hostage.
House Democrats set to vote against the deal a breakaway group of Senate moderates agreed to, angered that it does nothing to address the central sticking point of lowering health care costs and extending Affordable Care Act tax credits.
Health care costs are still poised to double or even triple for some folks practically overnight.
With a newly elected Democrat being sworn in today, House Republicans can only afford to lose 2 votes. It is expected to pass and secure President Trump's signature.
We're opening up our country. Should have never been closed.
Relief can't come soon enough for the nation's airports, where flight delays and cancellations are growing.
It has to be the shutdown. What else could it be? This has never happened to me before.
The Transportation Secretary warning the situation driven by staffing shortages will get much worse if the shutdown stretches into the weekend.
If this doesn't open, you might have airlines that say, we're gonna ground our planes.
A lot on the line in the final push to get the government back in business. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
That was our NBC reporter out of Washington discussing what the government shutdown might look like today, when it might end, and what questions we still have. We got a chance to speak with a political science professor from Queen's University earlier about those very questions, where things stand now, and what happens next, which I'm sure is what everyone is most interested in. So let's take a listen.
So the federal government shutdown, we know, is winding down, and it appears that after several weeks, it appears that it is headed towards a resolution, but not without controversy. The Senate last night, getting caught up here, passed a bipartisan bill that would end the stalemate, and it now heads back to the House with the support from 8 Democrats as well as the president. So they can vote as soon as tomorrow. Helping us sort things out where they stand today is Amy Sentimentes. She's the assistant professor of political science at Queen's University of Charlotte. And Amy, thank you for joining us this morning on Live Impact News.
Thanks so much for having me.
Let's talk about what happened here. How did this government shutdown over primarily healthcare subsidies, right, to a deal that actually does not include them?
Mm-hmm. I think as the shutdown continued, the Democrats, who did end up deflecting, recalculated their decision because they were thinking about 2 things. I think the upcoming holiday travel and the expiration of SNAP benefits were weighing heavily on their mind, as well as the realistic possibility that they could actually get what they wanted out of this impasse. I know Senator King from Maine, who's an independent who caucuses with the Democratic Party, talked a lot about how he didn't really envision the Republicans caving at all. And so while polls at the moment still place the blame primarily on the Republican Party, he anticipated that an ongoing shutdown would only make that blame a little bit more evenly split, and so the Democrats may actually suffer consequences if the shutdown continued. However, there have been some, like you said, controversies because the remaining senators who did not deflect viewed this as a real issue with their party because they wanted to stand firm and use this as an opportunity not only to continue these health care subsidies, but also to use their power to stand up to President Trump and his administration.
Yeah, after a strong election last week with some of those key All
right, we're actually breaking into that interview, and we'll get back to that later because government shutdown is something we're going to be covering all day long as we wait for that House vote. But we want to take a moment to do this really cool interview that our Jane Monreal scheduled for us. It is Pulmonary Hypertension Awareness Month, and we've got someone with a personal story who's bringing awareness to this cause, and so I want to bring him in here. I thank you, Eric, for joining us. You have a really, really interesting story, so I just want to get straight to it. Tell us about your experience with this illness and how you got involved in spreading the word.
Yeah, good morning. So 5 years ago, this past September, I collapsed and nearly died from right heart failure. I was diagnosed with a very rare lung condition called pulmonary arterial hypertension, a disease with no cure. So I made a decision early on to live. I wasn't going to die. So I was sent home. I was given 2 to 4 months to live, unbeknownst to me, and came home on a pump with medications administered straight into my heart and immediately started to walk. Walking helped mitigate the side effects of the medication, but it also helped with positive mental health, which is so critical in somebody living with a chronic disease. So between walking, positive mental health, exercise, nutrition, and my village, my family and friends, here I am today.
I want to get to, how they kind of call you the walking guy, and I want to get to your journey afterwards, but you said something really, really interesting, which was, I just decided I'm not going to die. Where did you find that drive to just commit to living when you got that diagnosis?
Yeah, so leading up to the diagnosis, I was sick. With this disease, a lot of people try to get help and it goes misdiagnosed. For me, it was the opposite. I was scared. I was scared to find out what was wrong. And I've learned that upwards of 75% of men don't go to the doctor when something's wrong. So when I collapsed, I made an immediate decision for my family and my kids that I was going to live, and I just headed down a different path. And that resolute desire has led to where I am today. I am nicknamed the walking guy. I now walk 13 to 15 miles a day. I walk between 4,500 miles and 5,000 miles a year with this very rare lung and heart disease.
Well, thank you for sitting for us for a few minutes. How long does that take you to walk that long in a day?
I break it up, but it probably, 4 or 5 hours a day I'm walking. But, I have found that not only does it mitigate the side effects of the medications that I'm currently on, but it really helps with positive mental health. And I've learned that positive mental health is finding something that you love to do. And I've learned that walking is just a big part of my life.
What do you do while you walk? Do you walk with people? Do you listen to something, or do you just walk?
All of the above.
All of the above. What are some of the signs, though? You mentioned that, a lot of people go undiagnosed or misdiagnosed. What are some of the things that maybe you noticed or that people need to know as early symptoms?
Yeah. So the early symptoms of pulmonary arterial hypertension are shortness of breath, fatigue, and then as it progresses, which a lot of times it does because it does go misdiagnosed, it goes misdiagnosed as asthma or other things. The shortness of breath it becomes difficult to walk. And then you start getting swelling in the abdomen, you start getting swelling in the legs and the ankles. And so for me, I was really swollen. And that's when you're starting to go into heart failure.
Now, I know that you had the support of, you mentioned your village, your family and friends. I'm curious how your care team and the hospital workers also supported you in that journey.
Yeah. So as I said, I talk to a psychologist once a week. Positive mental health, living with the terminal disease is critical. I have the best cardiologist. And then I have my CVS specialty team. When I left the hospital, I was on a pump. And I had a nurse that came to the house once a week. And she was just so reassuring. And then as I got better, after a year, my heart made almost a complete recovery. I was taken off of the pump and I was put on 3 oral meds, which I'm on today and I'll be on for the rest of my life. So CVS has really just become a lifeline for me. They deliver my medications and they're just another source of help. There's a 24/7 online app. There is a pharmacist that I can talk to if I need just a second opinion. So they've just been part of that team. And collectively, it's just, I didn't go to the doctor before being diagnosed, but now I don't miss an appointment.
Now, I know that you also give back to other people that, are going through the same thing, the same journey you went through. Tell me about your decision to get involved with fundraising, what that looks like, and why you decided to give back.
Yeah. Advocacy has always been important to me. Philanthropy has always been important to my family. And so after probably about 2 years ago, my oldest daughter came to me and said, Dad, we want to do a fundraiser to give back for this rare disease that you live with. And so Where is EB was born. And the last 2 years, we've held a fundraiser here in Santa Monica. And I'm proud to say that we've raised over $420,000 in the last 2 years to help patients living with pulmonary hypertension around the country that need it most. And then each year, the 5K culminates with me walking from LA to San Diego, 205 miles to raise awareness for this very rare disease.
That's amazing. We have some pictures that we just pulled up of all the people there to support. I know our Carlene has a question. Carlene, what do you got?
Hi, Eric. I have a question. So your 13 miles a day to me is
We're still stuck on it.
It's crazy. I mean, my mouth's been open since you said that. How many pairs of walking shoes do you go through a year? I'm just curious.
I get that question all the time. I probably buy about a pair and a half a month. I average about a pair and a half a month. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a type of shoe or do you rotate?
I do. I wear Hoka's.
Okay.
And so, yeah, and it's just been an incredible journey. Where is EB raises money for an organization called Team Phenomenal Hope, who really helps people around the country, underserved people living with the disease. With everything going on in this country, with cuts to funding, it's so critical to help others. And I'm just so blessed that I have this second chapter in my life to help others. And I'm so grateful that I just have this amazing team around me, including CVS, to help me be where I am today.
Yeah, a lot of people in need right now, and so giving back if you can is extra important. How can people listening to this participate in your mission and get involved?
Yeah, they can go to cvshealth.com or whereiseb.org to learn more about my story and everything that I'm doing.
All right, Eric, thank you so much, and thanks for doing all that important work and bringing awareness to this. Such an important cause, so we appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of course. We are going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, we are going to get back to some government shutdown news and get back to that interview with a political science professor from Queen's University that our Jane Monreal did earlier, especially since we're hoping to get some headway on this today with the House going in session in just about 2.5 hours. So definitely something we'll be checking back in on all day long.
After a strong election last week with some of those key elections in the Democratic Party, now we're seeing some significant fractures. What does that say about the Democratic Party's strategy moving forward?
I think this remains to be seen. They did have a strong week last week, but I think it speaks more broadly to the fact that in the United States we have a really candidate-centered electoral process. And so while these candidates last week were extremely popular, Zohran Mamdani in New York City, Abigail Spanberger in Virginia, and Mikey Sherrill in New Jersey, they all led campaigns catered to the voters in their states or cities respectively. But polls still show that the public feels very negatively toward the Democratic Party as a whole, especially Leader Schumer in the Senate and Hakeem Jeffries in the House. So I think moving forward, the voters now probably will continue that discontent they feel toward the Democratic Party and make it even harder for them to unite based on a common strategy as they approach the vote in the House, and then also going forward how they might respond to this administration when media coverage and voters perceive this as caving to the administration.
Yeah, interesting in putting it that way and saying that it's a candidate-centric that made for some strong showings last week. This deal, again, does not extend any of the subsidies to the Affordable Care Act, which means 20 million Americans could see their insurance premiums increase. Help our viewers understand what this means as an everyday impact.
I think as the economy continues to be perceived in a very uncertain light, as costs escalate for groceries and other common goods, voters and individuals in this country are increasingly stressed and are very uncertain about the future. And so with healthcare subsidies increasing, it's only going to add more fuel to that fire, and it's going to cause a lot of stress that has continued since last year in the presidential election. So I think it's really weighing heavily on the minds of voters. But like I said, with the ongoing shutdown, I think short-term factors really played a role in those 8 senators' votes on Sunday night. So it was a sort of cost-benefit analysis for more in the long-term views on health care versus the short-term impact of the airline industry having to respond to the shutdown, and then also the SNAP benefits and other key Democratic policies and those that affect Republican states, really weighing heavily on the short term for these voters.
So the funding would help the government fund the government, I should say, until January 30th. What happens then? What can people expect? Are we just kicking the can down the road?
It certainly seems that way, and I think voters think the same. And so this is not a forever solution that they've proposed. It's more like they're putting it off until after the holiday season, and that might buy them some time on both sides. I think a lot of the coverage now is centered on what this will do in the 2026 midterms. And so again, those senators who did deflect, they anticipate that this will help their party going forward, because now the ball is in the Republicans' court, because they know Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, is quite popular for these voters. They don't want their subsidies to expire. And so now it's up to the Republicans, and they're hoping that voters will punish them next year in the midterm elections. But as far as in January, I think people see it as just going right back where we started back at the end of September.
Unfortunately so, but like you said, the cost-effect equation comes into play as we are feeling it on an everyday basis, right, between holidays and travel and SNAP benefits. All right, so more to come, I'm sure. Dr. Amy Sentimenti is Assistant Professor of Political Science at Queen's University here in Charlotte. Appreciate the time.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you, you too.
All right, we're going to take another quick break, but as I mentioned, we are waiting for a vote from the House on that today. So we'll be checking back in on the status of the government shutdown all day long, both here in the stream and on air. So stick with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes. We're going to have a check of your forecast coming up. Welcome back to the Live Impact Studio. It is 9:37 here, and we've got a special guest. We have Chris with our forecast. Hi, Chris. How you doing?
Good to be here today.
I know. Really special day.
Yeah, first time a little nervous. No, I have been gone for 5 days, so it does feel like forever since last
It's been
year.
a minute since you've been.
Yeah, people was like, "Oh yeah, you still work here." That's what happens. But yeah, no,
missed you.
I avoided all of it. Think about it, because you had I avoided the snow, the freeze, and then I did miss talking about the Aurora Borealis. That was pretty cool. However, it also shows that social media is misleading, and it's true. You could see it out there, but only through the camera lens.
Oh, interesting.
So we're going to go through a bunch of things. We're going to talk about the mountains. We're going to talk about our forecast, how it is so much better than where we just were. And we're also going to talk about the last chance to maybe see that burst of the auroras later on this evening as well. So let's go up on top of Beach Mountain. Isn't that nice?
Look at that.
Do you
Looking
ski?
gorgeous. I snowboard.
You snowboard?
Yeah. Now I have a snowboard and I haven't gone in years, but at one point I did snowboard more frequently than I do now. What about you two?
Well, she's about to go on potentially a ski trip.
Maybe going to Colorado next year, and I haven't I snow skied since I was 17. So I might need to go hit the bunny slopes, but I can water ski and wakeboard.
That sounds just as hard, if not harder, to me.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you're going out to Colorado,
that's the big boys.
Yeah, you need to go here because the Black Diamond here is like the bunny slope in Colorado.
Right. That's like that's those are the majors.
Yeah, So let's go to maybe App, Sugar, Beach, any one of those, and then maybe you'll be ready for the bunny slopes out in Colorado. Okay. But that's awesome. Yeah, the land where they have double black diamonds and such.
Scary.
But yeah, very scary, but exhilarating. That was actually my. I think this maybe put a hiatus on my career. Is I felt like I was king of the world, going down fast as I've ever gone, and I was near the terrain park, and I was listening to Crazy Train. You know that gets you going.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I went off this jump, and I thought it was much smaller than it was. And next thing I know is I landed too far forward, and I hit the ground, saw 256 different colors, came to with the ski patrol giving me my goggles back, and I had a black eye for like 3 weeks. And sometimes when I get really tired, this eye still turns black.
You know,
what?
Blackish, yeah.
I think you really did Ozzy some well there.
Oh, I know.
You know, you playing that, then you just tumbled down. That's Crazy Train.
It's what he would have wanted.
It was.
What he would have wanted.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I definitely knocked myself out, but you know what? It was a crazy train. And when I do it again, probably not. But I will go snowboarding here.
I'm good.
Do you ski?
I was gonna say on that note, that's finally on the coffin for me. I'm good. But y'all have fun. I'll have a hot chocolate, and I will wave y'all down the mountain.
That's the thing. If you go on these trips, you don't need to go out. You can have just as much fun, if not more.
Time.
Oh,
hot tub.
man.
Hot tub time.
Something about the hot tub when it's cold outside, like, I don't know. That's a sweet spot. But anyways, we're cruising around here. As you can see, it's quiet. Nothing's going on. Just because they're still priming things, because we had the snow that naturally came down, but they're going to now factor in every time you have those freezing temperatures trying to make some snow. It's still a really tough time of year. Meanwhile, Sugar Mountain was a great shot. It's gone. And why did we not lead with this? I am so sorry.
It's gone forever.
So, okay, only App and Beach is the options you're going to.
Yeah, Sugar's gone.
Now, we've been watching Sugar all morning, and the wind's really whipping out there. But one thing really show in the mountains over the next 5 days, temperatures are on the rise. When we're talking about the lower 60s in the mountains, that means that it's going to be very warm here in the Charlotte area. You can at least add 10 degrees. So while we're getting into the 60s for the weekend, Charlotte is definitely getting into the 70s. As far as our morning lows for the mountains, focusing in on Watauga County, we're going to be right around freezing over the next couple of mornings, a surge to the 40s, and then near freezing. Now, this is significant because we dropped down to freezing back-to-back mornings recently here around Charlotte, and then it was in the teens for the high country. Well, instead, we are now going to see a nice little upgrade because for this day in climatology, we should be around 64 degrees, and we were nowhere near that because typically during the dead of winter, during the month of January, you have an average high of 52. Well, we didn't even reach that yesterday. Yesterday was actually 48 degrees. That was the coldest high that we've had since February 21st. The look that Julie just gave, I know a lot of you also gave yesterday. It was rough. We were out doing a multitude of things, and I forgot how I don't enjoy that. So I'm glad that was very temporary. I literally yesterday at one point I said, I'm not ready for this, and maybe you aren't either. This morning we dropped down to 38. That's much better than the 29 and 31 we've had over the last couple of mornings, and this officially would have made it the fourth coldest morning that we've had of the season. But as you can see, there's a lot of Novembers on there because November is averaging more close to 40 degrees in the 30s going forward. So right now we're 45 degrees for both Monroe and Charlotte. Boone took an early weekend. I think that it got too cold for the sensor because it has not reported for over 24 hours. So
wow.
We'll move on. You can estimate temperatures that are in the 30s there, though. And yesterday, as I mentioned, we had a high of 48. Today, 66. So we're right around where we should be, but what a turnaround.
Thank goodness.
You're welcome.
I was not happy when I saw a snowflake. That's
Yeah.
why I moved away from Michigan.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have this weather complaint box, and it was half the people at the station. And that's why I took 2 days off, because I was like, I'm not doing this. Yeah,
It was all
like,
me.
I'm not dealing with the hate mail. Yeah, it was a bunch. I recognized Julie's handwriting for most of them. It was like, we get it. No, just joking. But our highs today, mid-60s, as I mentioned. That's from Hickory for the Charlotte area. 52 around Boone, still sensational. But lots and lots of sunshine to go around. But by the time you get to the evening, that's where temperatures are back to pretty much our highs where they were over the last couple of days. And we're expecting 55 at about 7. And then come 11 p.m., 48 degrees. I'm isolating this for a specific time frame because we do have another chance for the Aurora Borealis, the auroras. Okay, so yesterday we saw a bunch of different photos that were really popping off. Here, let me give you, so look at this. Here's one example. That was Lake Norman yesterday. Now, the thing is, if you're driving on I-77 past Lake Norman, likely you did not see this. And the reason why is because you have to actually change the shutter on your camera to really factor in seeing the aurora. And the reason why is it is a change of colors. It's the ionosphere, so it's technically above our atmosphere, that sometimes you have to adjust the lens, the exposure, sometimes even the white balance to be able to see it. Now, if you're in Iceland, you're seeing all the colors. You're seeing the purples, the greens, the pinks. Up in New England, I had a friend, Luke Dignan, one of my best friends up there. He could actually see the pink in the sky, but it's a little bit closer to the poles, so you could expect that. But this is a big deal because we officially had what yesterday was called a G4. So this space weather or this solar flare allows triggers the ions in the ionosphere that we are able to see the Aurora Borealis to the north. In the southern hemisphere, it's called the Aurora Australis, which is around Australia. So a G4 really just means that you can see it as far south as around Alabama, and we even saw some reports of a faint pink in Mexico. So that's how far south it went. This is an extremely rare event. Once you get up to G5, sometimes you can have some power grid problems, and it's not great. And if you are listening to XM radio, that could even went out because that solar flare can actually really affect that in general. So what we have in place for today is what's known as a KP 7 to 8. So all that means is the lower number means that the Aurora Borealis can only be seen to a certain latitude. Once you get down to about 7 to 9, that's the latitudes around the Carolinas. So whenever we see that, that piques our attention. And earlier this morning, we were still seeing about a 7 to about an 8. Now it's taking a step back, but there's going to be another big surge that is expected to take place, I think, anywhere between about noon to 2. Problem is the sun's going to be up at that point. Yeah. But we're still going to have a possibility of seeing it again. These are the type of deals, wait and see. You could have the perfect conditions, and all of a sudden you don't see anything. But what's really interesting about this, and you're going to see it, sorry, wrong graphic, later on heading after sunset once it turns dark. The darker the location, the better you're going to see. And it's the long exposure pics that are going to expose your camera, and your smartphone's going to be able to pick up on it. Now, I'm going to bring up my camera, and this is going to be very shoddy, but just bear with me. Okay. So, what you're going to see on your phone, and let's see, try to bring it up here.
Ooh, step by step with Chris.
Yeah. You're literally going to see a picture, and I don't know why it's not popping up now. This always happens to me. Literally, it's like almost a little sun, little moon symbol with like a little hashtag. Let's see. I don't know why you're not able to see it. Hold on one sec.
That's why we call it the live impact.
This is why live impact studio, exactly. But anyways, okay. This is me earlier, so I'm going to try to show it to you right there.
Okay, there we go.
All right. There it is. Okay. So what you're actually seeing here is me adjusting it from earlier.
Here, I'll bring it full. Ta-da.
Bring it full? Okay, there it is. Okay, and where's the reflection? All right, so there's that little symbol right there. It's literally like a little bit of a moon that you're able to adjust the bottom, and what that's going to do is that's going to adjust your shutter. So you literally have to put it in one general place, hold it still, and there's going to be a little plus that pops up. You have to line that up perfectly because that's going to take a picture for about 5 to 15 seconds, depending on what you adjusted on.
Sounds like a mini game.
Yeah, it is like a mini game. And that's where you're going to be able to see the different colors. So oftentimes, if you don't have these settings, you're going to look up and it's going to be no big deal. So there's other things. If you have a pro setting on your phone, this is Android or for Apple, you're going to have something called the ISO that is going to boost sensitivity. So there's literally a range that you can move between 800 and 3200. The higher you go up is where you're going to be able to see until the aurora is visible. The shutter speed that I was just trying to show you in a poor manner, 5 to 15 seconds. Again, it's a little moon icon for your iPhoners. If it's a shorter length, about 5 to 8 seconds, which I think is what could get you by up to 10 seconds for tonight because the aurora is going to be active, that's where you're going to start to see the pinks. Other things is you have to stay steady. I would do a manual focus, so you literally just tap on, like, say, a distant star, and then you can lock that focus. And then if you really want to go fancy, the white balance is about 3,500 to 4,000. If you have all these settings that you have right here, that's going to maximize your view of seeing the aurora borealis, or at least some of those pinks.
Everybody screen grab. Everybody screen grab right now.
Take a picture.
And go. Okay.
Yeah.
I
So,
screen grabbed.
Okay, good. Yeah. So that's going to be your best chance. All of those, and the white balance. Really, all this does is that's going to allow more of the natural greens and purples to come through instead of more of an orangey color. Likely you're not going to see the greens here. Our Dallas camera did pick up a little bit on them, but it's one of those camera magics that you're probably seeing a bunch of social media posts and it's like, I didn't see that out and about. It's not necessarily a camera trick. It's that sometimes you just kind of need a second lens in order to truly see it. Now, further north you go, they're actually going to be seeing this action. But for us, this is the best way that you could see it. No matter what, when you take a picture and all of a sudden you realize that it's a pinkish sky, or sometimes you can really see it in front of you, I think it's a pretty cool phenomenon that doesn't happen too often, but it has happened twice this year. So this is the second time. Our lows overnight tonight, if you're out and about, I think it's mainly during the evening that we're going to see this. And again, it's still an outside chance. These are the type of deals that many could be disappointed. It kind of sneaks up on you, but we're just saying that the conditions are there. But our lows tonight dropping down to the upper 30s, and then we have a mix of the 40s and even the 50s to begin your Sunday morning. And our hourly forecast by tomorrow, we're adding a few clouds to the equation. Temperature still in the mid to the upper 60s. Wind still out of the west-southwest. That's going to crank up Mother Nature's thermostat. But then our surface map is really heading in a nice direction because whenever you have a warm front that blasts winds out of the southwest in this type of nature, that's going to maximize your warm-up. And we will see a little bit of rain right along the Tennessee border. I don't think that works its way towards the Charlotte area, so that's why we're going to stay perfectly dry. But as long as this front is above us, we're going to stay warm. We're going to see a cold front that eventually drops down, but instead of that really cooling us down like what we just saw, kind of brings us back to normal. The only reason why we were so cold recently is because literally a piece of the term that the media loves, and I know we're part of it, the polar vortex came by. The polar vortex, all it is just this big ribbon of polar air that moves around the poles. But sometimes it wobbles and a piece can drop down. So literally we had a piece of the poles that dropped down, and that's the reason why we were so cold recently. Usually it doesn't last long, but that's why we saw such a big temperature swing, making it feel more like January compared to what we should have. Now, if that happens during January, we likely drop down into single-digit lows and even sometimes highs only in the teens.
No, thank you.
Yeah, so
I'm good. Y'all will not see me.
No. And then my weather complaint box will be extra full at that point.
Yeah, I'm gonna start writing them now just in case.
I'm gonna move the box because we don't have time for that. No, just joking. Our weekend forecast, though, really trending in a nice direction. We have the mid 70s. I moved it up to 77 on Sunday. At worst, these might fluctuate 2 degrees down, but you're still talking about the mid-70s. Mixing a few more clouds. It'll be a nice warm start on Sunday. And then once that front passes, it's not even a big drop or any means. You have the mid-70s go to the mid-60s, which, by the way, we should be around 64 this time of year. By the end of this 7-day forecast, that new high is going to average around 61, 62. So we're still above that. So this is a really nice set of 7 days that we have on that Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. So enjoy it all. Precipitation chances, look at that. You don't have one until not this Friday, next Friday.
Beautiful.
Great.
I will remove my complaints that I gave you.
Okay, you had pre-written ones? I knew it.
I will take them back.
I knew it.
I'll take them back.
What are we looking at here?
What is that?
Oh, I don't know. That didn't mean to. This is, this was the Aurora picture that we had, but it was one of those two-parters that we overlaid it over a hail picture, so you weren't supposed to see that.
Surprise!
Yeah.
Surprise!
Hello. Yeah, no hail in the forecast nor any rain chances.
You said April Fools, everybody.
Gotcha. November Fools.
Thank you,
Well, cool, Chris. Thank you very much. Good news.
Yeah, great news.
Cool.
Mhm.
What more could you want?
Celebrate good times. Come on.
I know. Especially because people are traveling, things
People
like
are
that.
traveling.
Good
we
weather.
got the Southern Christmas show coming up this week.
That's right.
So it's a good weekend to go. It's gonna be.
Yep, the fleeting weekends for the Ren Fest.
That's right.
Yeah,
Getting
so
close.
and I believe this weekend is the first one for Winterfest at Carowinds as well.
I think you're
So that's going really a great forecast in general. I'm pretty sure it starts on the 15th, 16th. Let's see.
I missed Scarowinds this year, so maybe I'll go to Winterfest.
Winterfest is great. Calendar and hour.
It is. It's magical.
Chris is correct.
Okay.
15.
As usual.
Okay, it's nice to hear that because I usually don't hear that at home.
I do. Are we going to get to Brad's interview? Speaking of, well, it's been a while since we were speaking of snow resorts. But
we did touch. We did get
ski
there.
resorts.
You guys let me talk for a while, so it has been a while.
we always appreciate
People already tuned out and said, "Man, this is where the man can talk a lot."
It's our fault for asking you questions.
Yeah,
I
I know
we
you
just
shouldn't
keep
do
adding
it.
to it.
Just
I
keeps me
know.
going.
I know, but Brad Panovich got a chance to speak with a snow and ski resorts manager about this winter season. So let's get
Brad's
to
an
that.
avid skier too, so
Oh, that makes sense.
You'll see the
He would.
enthusiasm. I can see in the preview right now.
He's
It's a big
excited.
old smile on Brad's face.
Especially because the things are starting to get, warmed up. I guess not warmed up.
Or cooling down, but the ski season is warming.
Well, ski season warming up because weather's cooling down.
Yes.
There it
So
is.
we're going to get to him.
I think we followed.
There you go.
Yeah,
You get it.
we're
All right,
good.
here's
We're
Brad.
good. We're good. We're good.
All right, welcome back. Well, normally you would be seeing me and Tim Buckley, the chief meteorologist at WFMY up in Greensboro, but Tim is out tonight, so it's just me. And you know that I love to ski, and I love the start of the ski season. Typically, we start talking about the ski season around Thanksgiving weekend, but this weekend we saw a lot of resorts making snow in western North Carolina and across the southeast through West Virginia, all the way up into western Maryland, and a lot of natural snow on top of that. So I thought I'd bring in a guest from one of our big resorts here in the southeast, Josh Faber. He is the general manager up at Winter Place Resort in Gent, West Virginia. Josh, good to see you again. I got to meet you several years ago, and I know you've been down to our station a couple of times. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me, and it's kind of fun. I get the weather update, and I get to talk a little skiing. It's great.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about this past event. I know you guys started making snow. You guys don't plan to open in the near term, but talk about what your plan is right now when you get an early blast of cold and snow like this, especially in early November, what the plan is for you guys.
Absolutely. Typically we don't open up until mid-December, but I wanted to get a big jump on this season, try to get open as soon as possible. We got this great cold blast rolled through, so we started up the system Monday morning, and we pumped through this afternoon, and we already pumped over 3 million gallons of water. So the team did great, and there's some decent piles. I could whip it out right now and probably get it open for sure. But I'm going to save it a little bit, wait for the next cold blast, get some more snow out there for everyone.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about that process, like how you guys decide. We saw Sugar Mountain open down here, and I always tell people that first time opening is kind of a PR stunt, really, to kind of tell everybody, hey, we're the first ones to open. But I know you guys like to have a really good product for over your entire resort, right? And talk about how that thought process goes and when you guys open up and what you like to provide for your customers.
Absolutely. So, it's kind of, I don't want to call it a gamble, but you have to be very conservative. Our climate can change so rapidly. So if I were to go out there today and push all of this snow out and open up, say, tomorrow, there's a good chance it's going to melt by Thanksgiving. So if I can leave it in piles, it kind of acts as its own refrigerator, and that snow will kind of protect itself for a while. So that's kind of my thought, because when we do open up, it's a big piece to everything we do, for the families, the beginners, the diehard skiers. I want to give a good product, and I want to be able to have enough open, spread people out, get some lessons rolling, things of that nature. So it is important, especially me being a diehard skier, I want to, give something that's, very fun and safe and awesome.
So talk a little bit about that, because I think that's an important point that people don't understand about the man-made snow. We know that in the Southeast, man-made snow is a big part of the operation, but you mentioned it there, like the self-refrigerant, and I think this is a fascinating part about the man-made snow. It tends to hold itself a little bit better than the natural stuff, right? So when you guys make a good base of the man-made stuff, it tends to stick around longer than people think, and it also is a good idea when we do see a warm spell in the winter that places that have a good base can actually have really good skiing even in a warm spell, right, Josh?
Oh, 100%. So I always use the analogy, right? We've all seen the pretty snowflake, right? Kind of looks like our hand. It's got different designs. No snowflake's the same. Well, our man-made snow, it's more of a crystal, more of like a grain of salt or a grain of sand. So it's much, much more durable. So when there's no snow in our backyards, especially where you are, right? There's no snow. We have lots of it. And it protects itself. We'll have a multiple foot base. And it definitely becomes much, much more durable. And that's the beauty of it, right? When it does warm up, the man-made snow is huge, and it's becoming more prevalent all across the ski industry, not just down here in the Southeast, out west. It's a big piece.
Yeah, talk about that operation. Like, how many guns, and you talked a little about the number of gallons. You guys have made some upgrades to your system as well this year. What is your system like, and how quickly, if we get a prolonged cold snap, can you guys blanket the mountain?
So we just wrapped a $2 million capital project up this fall. The crews worked extremely hard. It takes us all summer to get ready for winter. And within that process, from, adding a mile of new snowmaking pipe to more snow guns, energy efficient lighting on the slopes. So we're really trying to mold that product into something that our guests, come to expect, right? Like, I want people to show up, and when they leave, I want them to tell a friend and come back again. And if I don't provide that, then I failed, and I want to do a good job. So the system's intense. We can pump 7,000 gallons of water a minute. Wow. I think the new analogy we're using, it can fill up a school bus in like 2 minutes, right? So it's a ton of water, and but we got to have the temperatures, right? Yesterday was great, and looks like, I'll keep watching your show, but it looks like around Thanksgiving, it gets cold again, and we're going to be ready, and we're going to hit it hard.
So what do you think are some of the biggest myths people have, especially you mentioned the fact that, a lot of people go up to your place from Charlotte, from Raleigh, from Greensboro, from Richmond, and I think this happens. This is just human nature, right? We, like you said, we look at our backyard. It's not cold and snowing here. Why would I want to go skiing up in West Virginia? Talk a little bit about some of those myths and like things people need to look out for if they're planning to go skiing, and maybe not rely so much on what's happening locally, but more up your way.
Well, 100%. So, our weather is completely different, from Charlotte to up here. So, it can be 60 down there, and it's going to be cold and snowing up here. Huge myth. One, a lot of people think it's hard to get to our ski areas, right? Winter Place is right off of the highway, just straight up 77, and you literally see the highway from the slopes. And, one of the biggest secrets, we tend to sometimes get rain in the winter, right? It happens. Yeah. But skiing in the rain is my biggest myth. It's actually kind of fun. If you're prepared for it and you're dressed in the right gear, the snow's always soft, there's no lift lines, you got the whole place to yourself, and it's actually a blast. But that's why, webcams are so important. Check out our webcam. You'll see that we have a ton of snow, and And it's always a good time, right? If you're skiing, and I don't really care where you ski, right? I want you to come to Winter Place, but I'm super pumped for Sugar. Catalucci opened up tomorrow, I believe.
Tomorrow, yeah.
And skiing local, right? Skiing local is important. So it's a huge piece of the industry, and I'm happy we can be a part of that.
Yeah, it's so true about the rain. I always tell people there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad gear, right? It's always like I'm blessed, right? Like, so I have a couple little girls, and they'll come out skiing, and I tell you what, if it's raining and I've been at work for 80 days straight and I'm running ragged, they'll drag me out there, rain or shine, and we always have a good time. Yeah, the other one thing I will say about getting to your guys' place, the fact that it's off 77 usually has some of the best road conditions to get to, even if it is snowing, because they do such a good job of maintaining 77. Sometimes going here locally, you're going on switchbacks and mountain roads, but getting up to Winter Place is a lot easier because of that interstate.
No, it's a gift, and it's such an easy drive. I mean, I'm coming down to you Thursday for the Charlotte Ski Club Warren Miller movie premiere, so I'll be down there. I'm not gonna lie, I'm sneaking a little mountain biking because your weather's great, and I'm happy it's dry. I know you need rain, but I'm happy it's dry, and but it's such an easy drive. I day trip it, I'll come back, and it's really not that big of a deal. So.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about what you guys have coming up this season that people might be interested in, what's new for folks that have been up there in the past that they can look forward to coming up to Winter Place this season.
Absolutely. So obviously snowmaking is number one. We're going to continue to improve our snowmaking system any chance we get, and not only making more snow, but good quality snow, because you can make bad snow, I promise. So we do definitely focus on the positive, making good quality product for everyone. We have events going on every single weekend, from park events to family races, family weekends. I mean, we really try to push to, that family element, right? Especially if you've never skied before. Winter Place, we have more acreage of beginner terrain, and our ski school programs are top notch to where you can get that progression. You can come out, never have skied before, get used to those green slopes, and then we have plenty of blue and black trails to provide that, once you get a little braver, get those left and right hand turns down, you can progress. So we really push that element.
Yeah, I think I just love to get people out on the slopes, because I'm always one of those people, every time I go skiing, Josh, I always feel like I need to do more of it. When you get on the slope, you're like, why don't I do this every day? Because you don't think about it. But what about the people that don't ski? That's like, there's always a person maybe in your group that says, hey, I'm not a skier, I'm scared to death, I got a bum knee or something. You always hear that. You guys have tubing as well, right? You've got other activities you guys can do on the mountain.
Yeah, so we have the largest tubing park in West Virginia, and it's anyone can do it, right? You don't have to walk up the hill. We have a magic carpet that you just stand on the conveyor. It takes you back to the top, and it's a large facility and space, but it's also a pretty fun ride. Going back to my kids, they're always like, let's go tubing, and I'm like, let's go ski, because it's a ride, man. It's definitely a good time, and we've definitely have changed that model to this coming up season, where we're trying to give people more time, right? It used to be an hour-and-a-half session, then it went to 2, but we're going to go 3 hours this year to give people a little extra time. Same pricing, we're not messing with that. I just want to be able to give a little more value to where if you're out there with your kids and they want to go in and get a hot chocolate, if it were me, I'd be like, we only have 2 hours, we don't have time for that, no bathroom breaks, tubing. But now you get an extra hour, same cost, and just try to let people enjoy their time. And it's a great, like I said, all around. Even people that come and just watch, right? We have people lodge all day long just watching people, watching their grandkids, whatever it might be. I want them on the slopes, but as long as they're bringing someone out, it's terrific.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, as me, we do the same thing. We try to do both. We ski and do tubing at night sometimes. It's always a good time. So, Josh Faber for Winter Place, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck driving back down here. I'm sure I'll see you at some point over this upcoming season. But Winter Place, one of the best places to ski in the Southeast because of its access. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank thank you so much. I really appreciate it, man.
All right, Josh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the ski season a lot. I can't wait until I can get up into the mountains. And, you know, Josh said they try to open mid-December, which is great because usually that means they're going to have a lot of the mountain open by that time. A lot of resorts in the Southeast, I will speak just from, you know, past experience, the kind of goal is to open sometime around Thanksgiving or shortly after to try to stretch the season out. So if you're planning on going skiing, I would definitely just check ahead of those webcams as Josh talked about. Check with me. You know, I'll forecast a lot for skisoutheast.com and try to give you a heads up because some of the best times to ski is when it's raining here in Charlotte because areas up like Gent, which is on Flat Top Mountain up there, they'll have snow falling when it's raining everywhere else. And in our mountains like Beach and Sugar Mountain, we'll have a ton of snow while it's basically raining down here. And speaking of that, I'm going to pull up our Sugar camera just to see what it looks like right now because they've had some great snowmaking going on. I'm going to look and see what it looks like. They were open for daytime skiing, and you heard Josh talk about they're the first resort, by the way, to open on the entire East Coast. They have 5 runs open right now, but Cataloochee is going to open tomorrow. There's a live look at Sugar Mountain. You can still see they're making snow, so it is cold enough for them to continue making snow right now. Their base is, I think, at 30 inches, and they're going to try to make as much snow as possible. Now, you just saw my forecast earlier, right? We were talking about the fact that it's going to warm up. So they're going to try to pile this up. They're probably what we call whales. And the reason, just to tell you a little bit about the snowmaking and ski resort industry, the whales are the piles that are made. If you look at it at a profile, it looks like a whale humpback. That's what they call those. And they'll tend to leave those because that's like storing snow for later on. You heard Josh kind of allude to that. They'll make those piles of snow, let them sit there. They'll self-refrigerate. It'll melt. Yes, it's melting, but at the core, it's still staying cold. They'll save that and spread that around to keep the base going for a while. Let's take a quick look. I'm gonna pull up our Maggie Valley camera, which is a really cool camera. I hope they have the lights on. That's what I'm hoping. So this is on Hemp Hill, looking back towards Cataloochee Ski Resort, and there you can see it's all lit up. So they're making snow like crazy right there. The Maggie Valley, by the way, Cataloochee Ski Resort, that's west of Asheville. That's on the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. They're going to open tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., I believe, or 8 a.m. And typically early season skiing super cheap. They have discounted tickets because the whole mountain isn't open. Today was a holiday, so a lot of kids were out of school in the mountains, so they got a chance to go ski. One of the great things about living in the North Carolina mountains is when they do have a snow day, usually lift tickets are half price for locals for kids to go skiing. So I get excited for the ski season every year at this time. And it's amazing how many people ski in the Southeast. I think people move to the Carolinas and they think, I'm too far from skiing. We have several resorts in North Carolina, Cataloochee, Hatley Point, which is relatively new. We've got Beach, Sugar, Appalachian Ski Mountain. There's 5 resorts in North Carolina. You go up into Virginia, you got Bryce, and you've got Wintergreen. You've got Winter Place, Snowshoe, which is a massive resort up in central part of West Virginia. You've got Timberline. You've got Canaan Valley, and then all the way up in western part of Maryland and Garrett County, they've got a WISP. So that's kind of considered the Southeast. And what makes the ski resorts in the Southeast unique, they rely heavily on snowmaking, but as you heard from Josh, a lot of resorts are doing that now. But they also draw from a really far distance. You think people go out west skiing. In the Southeast, people drive from Florida, southern Alabama, the Gulf Coast, the Midwest, the East Coast to go to these resorts because these are the closest ski resorts to them. So if you get a chance to go skiing this season, I'm always a big fan of it. Go up there. So my little tip is don't go on the weekend because the lift lines are crazy. Do a midweek trip. It's sometimes some of the best skiing in the middle of the week. So before I leave tonight, I want to focus on one more thing we talked about. I talked about during my newscast, and we talked about on social media today. This has been all over online. So the Sun has launched a solar flare early this morning, an X-class solar flare. I think from all the sci-fi movies, people immediately think, uh-oh, this is a bad thing. Yeah, it could be a bad thing in the most dramatic sense. If we have a massive solar flare, it could have major grid problems, satellite disruption. But I'll be honest with you, in modern times, we have a way to forecast and detect these, and we can mitigate some of these factors, even though we have a very interconnected world with cell phones and GPS that can be impacted by this. We have ways to mitigate mitigate some of the impacts. The bigger story with this is the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights. People get super excited to see the Northern Lights, and there's a small chance tonight for North Carolina, but probably a better chance tomorrow. You can see the forecast at least, and this is a very fickle forecast because sometimes it doesn't orient correctly, and sometimes, like I think tomorrow could be a problem. It could happen in the middle of the day, and obviously you can't see the Northern Lights in the middle of the day because it's sunlight. But if this does hang on till tomorrow evening, sunset tomorrow night is coming up at 5:18 p.m. We could see the Aurora Borealis in North Carolina again, like we did last October, which is amazing. So just some tips. If we get a chance, it could be early tomorrow morning before sunrise, or again tomorrow evening after sunset. The thing to do is stay tuned for updates. Spaceweather.gov is a great resource. I will post updates, but look for dark locations away from city lights, light pollution, and make sure you head to a location where you can see the northern horizon. And sometimes the best tip, your naked eye, your eye by itself can't see it unaided. Use your camera, use that night camera shot, the long exposure. I know back in October, even in Charlotte, it was tough to see with the naked eye, even though you could, but with your smartphone, you could absolutely see it. So I'm sure we'll talk a lot about this tomorrow on Live Weather Impact as well. But get ready for a warm up. After our cold snap here, we are going to see temperatures jump back into the 60s for tomorrow, and by the end of the week, we'll be in the 70s. But that's it for tonight. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have more news coming up on Live News Impact coming up here on WCNC+. I'll see you later.
All right, definitely something to get excited for, as that opening weekend is coming up pretty soon here, I believe, in less than 2 weeks. So get your skis out, get ready. Not me. I will not be doing that. Carlene, maybe you.
Probably not. I'll be honest. Maybe. But avid skiers and snowboarders and tubers. Good luck.
Oh, I would tube.
I would tube too.
Tubing's
fun. We don't really have to do much. We just sit and ride.
That's my favorite thing to do. Is just sit.
We get to take in the ambiance.
I prefer to do it inside in the warmth with a hot chocolate, but I will too. But I know a lot of people are excited for that. Yes. So definitely something to look forward to. We're going to take a quick break, but just know that we've got a lot going on. Governor Stein's at an event right now, and he's expected to speak very soon.
We think so.
Right. Expected. You never know.
We think so.
We think so. But we're going to get to that hopefully in a couple minutes here, so stick with us. We'll be back in 2. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News. Just past 10:15 here. As I mentioned, Governor Josh Stein in the area speaking or expected to speak and be a part of this announcement at a battery plant, this big economic development announcement. So looks like they're in some sort of video right now, but we're going to take a listen in because we've got some important speakers coming up, and this is expected, this first battery plant in North America, I believe. Expected to be a big, big change for not just North America, but for the area. So let's take a listen in.
Them with a metallic bus bar, which allows an electrical current to flow throughout the group cells. Once complete, the modules are loaded by robot into containers and prepared for shipment to Toyota vehicle plants, where they're used to form hybrid electric batteries that power Toyota's growing fleet of electrified vehicles. Please welcome Toyota Motor North America President and CEO, Ted Ogawa.
Thank you, Dawn. And wow. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, thanks for coming to witness this milestone in Toyota's American journey. Our story began back in 1957 when we opened our first showroom in Hollywood, California. Since then, Toyota has become part of the U.S. cultural fabric. In fact, let me provide you with some fun facts that we are very proud of. Here in the US, we directly employ nearly 49,000 people. We have a total of 1,500 Toyota and Lexus dealerships across the country, and they employ nearly 144,000 people. We have invested nearly $50 billion here in the US, and we've also spent over $32 billion in local sourcing of parts, components, and other goods and services. And with the opening of this newest plant here in North Carolina, we have a total of 11 manufacturing facilities in the US. And that's what today is all about, to celebrate Toyota's first ever US battery plant here in the Tar Heel State. But we are no strangers to North Carolina. We also have our Toyota Racing Development Team about 70 miles from here. So we are putting even deeper roots in North Carolina. Now, as Don mentioned, the launch of this plant marks a pivotal moment in the future of electrification for Toyota and for US auto manufacturing. And our effort will continue. In fact, oh, by the way, I'm really excited to announce this today. Over the next 5 years, we are planning an additional investment of $10 billion in the US to further grow our manufacturing capabilities, bringing our total investment in this country to over $60 billion. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. This effort will create more sustainable, high-quality jobs across the US and reflect our long-standing commitment to build where we sell. And last month, we were honored when President Trump, while visiting Japan, acknowledged this very commitment and recognized the importance of Toyota's continued growth and partnership between our company and the US economy. As you look around today, this is more than a new plant. It's a symbol. It's a symbol of progress, of partnership, and of our shared commitment to a better tomorrow. Our $14 billion investment in this state-of-the-art facility is not just about building batteries. It's about building a future, a future that reflects our deep belief in America, in North Carolina, and in creating a more sustainable world. This plant stands as a giant step forward on our journey to reduce carbon emissions as much as possible, as quickly as possible. At Toyota, we know there is no single path to progress. That's why we remain committed to our multi-pathway approach, offering fuel-efficient gas engines, hybrids, plug-in hybrids, battery electrics, and fuel cell electrics. Because we believe giving people choices is the most powerful way to help everyone contribute to a cleaner, sustainable future. This plant represents more than manufacturing. It represents belief. Belief in the American dream, belief in the American workers, belief in the power of technology and teamwork to move us all forward. To our thousands of team members, many of whom are here with us today, and yes, okay. You are the heart of this mission. You are not just building batteries. You are shaping the future of mobilities and helping Toyota in its fight against carbon emissions. And you won't do it alone. Together with local, state, and federal leaders, our community partners, our dealer network, our suppliers, and your fellow Toyota team members. We will write the next chapter in America's manufacturing story. A story of innovation, a story of collaboration, a story of hope and sustainability. So together, we will continue Toyota's American journey, creating a cleaner, brighter future and mobility for all. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Please welcome U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.
Oh, it's great to be with everybody. Thank you for having me in North Carolina. I got the offer to come down, and I thought, wow, for a moment, can I talk about batteries or cars and not aviation? And so I'm happy to be here at today's great celebration. I'm proud to be here with Senator Ted Budd, who's a longtime friend of mine. I want to thank him publicly for voting 15 times to open up our government. So thank you, Ted. I was also looking forward to seeing Richard Hudson, who's also a friend of mine, but I'm happy we're not seeing him today because he's back in Washington for a really important vote as well on opening up the government. So I'll say hello to him later. But it is wonderful to be here with all of you, the great folks of North Carolina. And listen, Don, the tour today was fantastic. What this workforce does is remarkable. And again, Ted, did I get this right? $14 billion already and another $10 billion investments on the way, is that right? Yeah, that's fantastic. Well done, Toyota. You know, President Trump has asked the world to make investments in America. Because when companies invest in America, that means great American jobs. And I think the example here is the family-sustaining great American jobs that Toyota has made for this community comes from that $14 billion investment. And so the country's grateful. I know North Carolina is grateful, and I know all of you are grateful that Toyota has faith in our American workers to make these big investments. So it's fantastic. And by the way, we're going to move from a little over 2,000 jobs to over 5,000 jobs with this additional investment. Wonderful. And for those cars and car batteries that you're going to make that go in the cars. What we're going to do in this administration is we are going to build big, beautiful roads. We are going to build them more cost effectively. We are going to build them faster so Americans can drive the great cars that you produce on better roads that we produce more quickly in this country. That's one of the commitments that the Department of Transportation is going to make. As well, you talked about the CAFE standards, the fuel efficiency standards. I haven't been able to announce it yet because of the shutdown, but on the horizon, we're going to have an announcement where we're going to have a very reasonable fuel efficiency standard. And when we do that, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to make more cars because your cars are going to be more cost effective for the American consumer. We're going to bring down the price of vehicles because we don't have standards that, frankly, you can't meet. If I could say one other thing about Toyota, I'm a huge fan of Toyota. There's sometimes political pressure to tell companies what they are supposed to do. But Toyota didn't listen to political pressure. They listened to consumer pressure. And they said, you know what, we want to make combustion engines. We want to make, we'll make some EVs, but we want hybrids. I think the American people want hybrids. They want electric, but they also want the backup of a combustion engine. And those two things together to drive fuel efficiency is what Toyota has done, and done it very well. And I think the American consumer has responded so well to the vision that you have and the tie you have to the consumer, as opposed to being driven by the politics. By the way, when I came over, I got to stop by the child care center. Can I tell you how cool that is? To have a company, because I have 9 kids, I think families are important. I think we come to work, we love our families. And I know there's pressure when we come to work. Where do my kids go? And what kind of quality care can I get them? And for a company that understands that our families are so meaningful to us, that they would build a facility where you could have your kids on campus getting really great child care, shows how Toyota also cares not just about you and your work, but the families that you're working for. And so thank you for taking care of the kids of the Toyota employees. I think that's critically important. You know, I think what we do in this country matters. I think if I look at markets to sell cars, America is the best market to sell in. Americans love cars because a car means freedom, a freedom of movement. Maybe not the young kids, but they're a little different generation. I couldn't wait to get my driver's license. I couldn't wait to buy my own car. There's something very Americana about buying your first car, having your first car, and having the choice of what kind of car you drive is critically important. And so not only do we have the best market, but I think we have the best American workers to make those cars. And to have companies say, you know what, I'm actually not going to look to the future of making vehicles to China. I'm not going to look to Mexico. If you're going to buy these cars, we are going to make them in America by great American workers who have heart and soul and ethic. And so, again, Toyota has recognized that, and we are grateful for that. And so, I'm not going to drone on here. I'm going to stop. But I'm grateful that not just Toyota, but others have heeded the call from President Trump to make investments here, to see the future of their companies by making products with great American workers. I think that is one of the great visions that our president has, and he's going to continue to drive. And this extra $10 billion is a great sign of that. And so I look forward to coming back as you have this expansion here. And we continue to work together. And by the way, I've told you all, if anyone has any ideas for me, if you're like, hey, I got a great idea what you could do at DOT, whether it's in what you do here, maybe it's about what you think we could do on roads and bridges or trains or pipelines or ports, any ideas that you want to give us, the best ideas come from all of you. And so we're always open to taking the best feedback you might have for us. With that, congratulations, everybody. God bless. And let's get building. Thank you.
Please welcome U.S. Senator Ted Budd.
All right, how's everybody doing? All right. Well, it's good to be with each and every one of you all. Those who have come in from out of state for a very special day, this is what the #1 state in the country for doing business in feels like. How about that? You know, businesses, they're investing in North Carolina, and I am so glad that Toyota is at the forefront and is leading the way here in North Carolina and around the country. So God bless you all, Toyota. I am so thankful for you all. Those of us not Toyota, let's give you guys a hand at Toyota. Come on. You know, we're growing our partnership, as the Secretary mentioned, with Toyota here in North Carolina. And this is the first in-house battery manufacturing plant outside of Japan, right here in North Carolina. And you had a lot of other places that you could have chosen, other states that were offering everything, and then you looked at North Carolina, you looked at the workforce here, you looked at our willingness to make this a great place to do business, and you chose North Carolina, and we are thankful for you. You know, this $14 billion facility, it's going to drive lasting investment. It's going to create thousands of jobs. It already has. There's going to be more jobs. I think 5,100 is the goal, and we are looking so forward to that. And this is the right state to do that in. But I tell you what, and you know, you mentioned this earlier, but we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the visionary leadership of those who have gone before us in this place, and that is former Greensboro Mayor Jim Melvin. He was so obsessed with this. He would call me, he would call you, he would talk about this, and he was singularly focused on this. And he was all about these mega sites in North Carolina. And so what a shining example. He passed away back in August, as was mentioned earlier, but we are grateful for him and we honor him with our memories. You know, Toyota's impact in North Carolina, it goes beyond just advancing our automotive industry. I mean, you all have invested millions of dollars in educational opportunities here in North Carolina, expanding access to STEM and to STEAM and career paths and boosting workforce readiness. So I just want to thank everyone again at Toyota, especially your leaders. And I want to give a shout out to President CEO Ted Ogawa. And you have a wonderful name, sir. So Ted is just a great name. And Don, thank you so much. Thanks for the great tour you and your team gave and help us to understand. I didn't know we could watch it on a film and sort of get the recap there. That was great. But Secretary, you are called to all 50 states in so many different areas. And because of this very unnecessary shutdown, you've been working so hard to manage safety for our country. And the light is into the tunnel. We think it's a good light. We think there's opening. So, you know, Richard Hudson, our great friend that we served together with in the U.S. House, he called me last night to say, hey, I won't be able to be there, but let the folks in Randolph County and Liberty and here at the Toyota battery manufacturing site, that they are doing the work for you all back in Washington, D.C. and getting government open. So we are grateful for Representative Hudson's great work up there. But I look forward to working with you all in partnership, whether it's federal, whether it's here in the state. And I am so glad that Toyota and you all are here in North Carolina. God bless you all. Thank you.
Please welcome North Carolina Governor Josh Stein.
Good morning, everybody. I want to thank Ted Ogawa, Don Stewart, Toyota Battery Manufacturing North Carolina for hosting us on this most momentous occasion. Good to see Secretary Duffy back in North Carolina. We were grateful when we had you visit Haywood County back in February. It was a lot colder that day in that place than it is here today. And I want to just express our appreciation to USDOT for your ongoing partnership as we do the hard work of rebuilding the roads damaged by Hurricane Helene. Thank you, Secretary. Senator Budd had to run to another pressing engagement, but it's always good to see him. And to the legislators who are here, thank you for being here. You all played a critical role in making this come to be, and so thank you for all you do. Always good to see Japan's ambassador to the United States, Shigeo Yamada. We're honored to have you in North Carolina. This is the third time he has visited North Carolina. I could not get him to commit that this is the best state in the country, but he said he's not been to any other state more than North Carolina. Just last week, I returned from Tokyo for the Southeast United States-Japan Association annual joint meeting. It was a great trip, and I want to thank Ambassador Yamada and all of our hosts for their generous hospitality. North Carolina was proud to lead the Southeast delegation to Japan, and our chair was Don Stewart from Toyota Battery Manufacturing North Carolina. He was the chair of the Southeast U.S. delegation, and he did a tremendous job representing you all and representing North Carolina. Don, thank you so much. Had the pleasure of meeting with Don and Ted and other Toyota executives when I was there. Also met with at least 29 other Japanese companies to try to let them understand what Toyota figured out about all that we have to offer here in North Carolina. You know, it really doesn't seem that long ago that Governor Roy Cooper announced that Toyota had chosen North Carolina and would build its battery manufacturing plant right here. It was about 4 or 5 years ago. Today, the first hybrid electric battery comes off the line. Team Toyota has clearly been hard at work, and they are not done yet. In total, Toyota will invest nearly $14 billion in this North Carolina facility and create more than 5,000 jobs, good jobs with strong career possibilities. And with the plant's on-site child care center, which the Secretary noted, medical clinic, and pharmacy, Toyota is also giving employees the support that they need to succeed when they're at work. I applaud Toyota's comprehensive approach to supporting its employees. At its full capacity, you will see more than 120 football fields of battery production right here in Liberty, North Carolina. Around the country, there's going to be a very good chance that your new Toyota hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or electric vehicle will be powered by a battery that comes off the line in this facility. And we're seeing our state become a national leader in the clean energy economy, with Toyota leading the way. To maintain this momentum, earlier this year I established an energy policy task force, which I'm proud to say Toyota is a part of. It's about figuring out how we as a state can build on our economic momentum, keep electricity affordable as we meet growing energy demands, and maintain our goals to reduce carbon pollution. More than 100,000 North Carolinians are employed in clean tech jobs. With companies like Toyota, that number is only going to increase in the years to come. And when businesses with net zero goals like Toyota choose to call this their home state, it helps us to attract even more opportunity with other companies. We have so much going for us here in North Carolina. North Carolina was ranked the top state for business in the entire country in 2025. That's the third time in the last 4 years. But we cannot rest on our laurels, so let's use this exciting milestone as a springboard for our future success. Let's keep investing in our people so they have the skills and knowledge to succeed in an ever-changing economy. Let's continue leading in both building and deploying the clean technologies that will power our future. Let's keep paving a pathway into the future, recruiting the jobs of today and tomorrow. Toyota will play a major role in that future here in North Carolina and help us build a state that is safer, stronger, cleaner, and more resilient. I wish Toyota every success at this remarkable new facility. Thank you for having me, and God bless everyone.
Please welcome Japanese Ambassador Shigeo Yamada.
Good morning. And Governor Stein and Secretary Duffy and Ogawa-san and all the distinguished guests. It is a true honor for me to join today to celebrate the opening of this impressive battery manufacturing plant. So Ogawa-san and the entire Toyota team, congratulations on reaching this impressive milestone. Last year in April, I came here with Prime Minister Kishida. And at that time, this facility was still under construction. So it is wonderful for me to return here today to see the site transformed, fully operational and ready to power the future. And the batteries produced at this facility will energize the economy of North Carolina as well as the entire United States while securing very vital supply chains. Since 1988, Toyota has been building facilities across the United States, and President Ogawa talked about additional $10 billion. But this facility marks the Toyota's largest investment, single investment in the United States. This is a great facility. And the Toyota is not alone. Here in North Carolina, there are more than 400 Japanese companies are operating. Japan is proud to be the leading investor and leading employer in this state. We are contributing to the shared prosperity. We are providing various opportunities to the people here, and we are building enduring friendship between our two peoples. And I'd like to express my sincere appreciation to Governor Stein and the state government and state legislature, and also the local communities for your warm hospitality and steadfast support for those Japanese companies. Thank you very much. And just 2 weeks ago, President Trump visited Japan and had a highly successful meeting with the new Japanese Prime Minister, Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi, who is the first ever woman Prime Minister in the history of Japan. And at Akasaka Palace, where Prime Minister welcomed the President, Toyota's NASCAR race car was on display, a strong symbol of how deeply Toyota has been woven into the culture of this country. And that President's visit underlined that Japan and the United States, our relationship is stronger than ever. We are steadfast security allies, and we are dynamic economic partners, and we are natural collaborators in advancing our economic security. And in that partnership, this facility stands as a proud symbol of our joint work, driving innovation, sustainability, and resilience. So I am very proud to be here today, and congratulations again on this tremendous achievement, and I wish you the great success with this facility. Thank you very much.
Please welcome area member and Liberty resident, Rebecca Sams.
Good
Good morning, Team Toyota. My name is Rebecca Sams. I serve as an operations leader here at Toyota North Carolina. I am humbled and honored to stand before you today, and it is my
Looks like that feed is chugging a little bit. We're gonna just wait a few seconds to see if it comes back. And it went black. So we're actually gonna take a quick 2-minute break. We'll be back in just 2 minutes. All right, welcome back. We took a quick break because we were having some technical difficulties with that feed from the new Toyota battery plant out of Liberty, but it looks like it's back up and running, so we're going to check back in.
Great to hear from the perspective of the team member and a local, and having a similar experience as you, an opportunity when Toyota came to my hometown, an opportunity to also move back and raise my kids there around the family. I know how impactful it is, so I love hearing that from you. So as Rebecca mentioned, when Toyota invests in a community, it's not just jobs. Our company is a powerful catalyst for not just change, but meaningful transformation. I'm humbled to say that to date, Toyota has donated over $1 billion through its philanthropic activities. And the world around us is dynamic. It's our job to build strong, resilient communities. We work to reduce disparities and prepare our young people for the workforce by encouraging and investing in educational opportunities. As I mentioned earlier, this community has played an instrumental role in bringing this facility online. And that's why we're going to charge up the next generation of learners. It's my pleasure on behalf of the Toyota USA Foundation to announce an additional donation of $2.7 million That's right, 2.7 million. I made sure I read that right to make sure I don't get that wrong. To Shift Ed for the second phase of our driving possibilities in Asheboro City School District and Guilford County School District. With this, With this funding, our schools can develop the kind of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics curriculum that will prepare our kids for the workforce of the future. This is our second phase of our Driving Possibilities program, where we focus on preparing young people for the careers of tomorrow while addressing the root causes that impact their learning today. We do it by providing innovative programs and increase the STEM awareness and excitement while addressing the basic needs of our students and their families. If I could have the representatives of Shift Ed, Asheboro City School District, and Guilford County Schools join us on stage for a photo and accept a small token of our appreciation. Shiga-san, Kevin, would you also join us? Thank you. We'll give you one. We'll send her on the podium here if we could. Okay, that'd be perfect. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So thank you all. What a fantastic way to kind of see this thing off. We've talked about, we went to the child care this morning. Now we kind of follow it through the educational system. Thank you to everyone who joined us, who came out today to celebrate with us. But before we part ways, I want to leave you with this final thought. They say if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And the possibilities for this facility and this community are endless and far-reaching. And we are so excited to take this journey together with each of you. Friends and community leaders, please join us for reception to continue to celebrate. We can't wait to continue to build our community together. Thank you all.
Thank you again for joining us today. Team members, please depart the ceremony area as you entered. Lunch will be provided in the cafeteria of the building you report to. Honored guests.
All right, so we've been listening into that announcement of the new Toyota battery plant in Liberty, the first of its kind anywhere near here. So really, really a big moment and a historic moment for technology here. That's why you saw Sean Duffy there, who is a federal official. That's why you heard from our governor. You heard from so many people, a part of the organization.
Ted Budd was there.
Ted Budd was there.
Some big names.
Some big names. And we're expecting to hear from Josh Stein later today as well on an announcement closer to home here in Charlotte. We're going to have updates for you on that later. We're going to take another quick break, but we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Stick with us. Welcome back. Julie Gay here. Just a few more minutes of live impact news before we head to our next newscast. But we want to check back in with something that we're paying attention to today, expanding I-77, adding toll lanes all the way from uptown to the state line. And this is something that people are, concerned about, of course, because that affects their commute. But some of the neighborhoods in the area are also concerned about what that will do to their region where they live. So our morning crew got a chance to interview one of those neighborhood associations to hear about their concerns and a preview of that meeting later today.
Joining us this morning, Shauna Bell. She's the Vice President of the McCrory Heights Neighborhood Association. Shauna, thanks for taking time. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, as you know, this is not a new topic for your neighborhood. In fact, over the decades, the neighborhood's been chopped up several times, first by the Brookshire Freeway, then by I-77. And there are older folks there in the neighborhood. They and their families have seen this happen time and time again.
Absolutely. We still have people who live in this neighborhood who were first residents of this neighborhood who were impacted with the Brookshire Freeway, like you said, and 77 expansion. And now, once again, this would be like a third generation of the state coming in and wanting to take pieces of the neighborhood in the name of progress for Charlotte.
There are a lot of people, a lot of varying opinions on this. This is a historic district, and your neighbors are very, very proud of that. They say it's worth protecting.
Yes, I actually am the chair for the Historic District Commission, so I represent McCrory Heights on that commission, and we work tirelessly in order to get that designation in order to save the history. This neighborhood has a lot of history of people who fought for civil rights on a local level and a national level, and we just wanted to protect that at all costs.
All right, Shauna, I want to walk through folks through some of the options and some of the renderings. And heads up, the renderings are a lot, but I'm going to try to explain them as we talk about it. So let's take this first one. And what you're going to see, this is the I-77 Brookshire interchange.